and welcome to National Focus. I am Aaliyah Martin. In the headlines, Dominica and Vietnam strengthen bilateral and multilateral relations. Creole language soon to be introduced in Parliament. And the under-16 national netball team has been named. The details of the headline stories and more when we return.
I love the freedom when I'm out there. Simply put, the worries from shore, none of that out there. And it's my daily bread. I learned it from my dad. My dad is one of the senior guys here who catch the biggest fish around here. And he's top with the red snappers. It's a family thing. I'm the only one fishing right now in the family. Just keeping it going. I enjoy bringing them up, man. Sometimes you have a yellowfin tuna, 400 pounds. Man, let me tell you, that's just a joy out there. I enjoy going out there and just holding the big fish. I don't lift weights, I lift fish. The morning of my fishing trip, I would get up, make a little spiced tea. Then I come down here. I have my GPS, which most fishermen are supposed to have that. Normally I prepare the day before, because whenever you go out there, you must have ice. Ice is a must for preservation of the fish. So I always make sure I have everything the day before. My fish represents me, and I bring good quality fish ashore simply because the restaurants themselves, they have to show a quality product. Tourism and agriculture go hand in hand, that's what I think. We're all connected. It's like a big machine, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it. My name is Brandon Carlisle, and tourism is my business.
Welcome back. Minister for Foreign Affairs, International Business, Trade and Energy, Honorable Dr. Vince Henderson, and his Vietnamese counterpart, Bui Tan Son, held talks in Hanoi on March 20, where they agreed to continue to expand bilateral and multilateral cooperations for peace, stability and development in the two countries. Julian Morris has more.
The Honourable Dr. Henderson discussed measures to strengthen the friendship and cooperation between the two nations. He's on a 5-day visit to Vietnam from March 18 to 22 at the invitation of the Vietnamese Foreign Minister, as Vietnam and Dominica are celebrating the 10th founding anniversary of diplomatic relations this year. Vietnam's foreign minister says his country always attaches importance to its relationship with Dominica and expects that the two sides will continue to explore possibilities to strengthen ties on the basis of their respective potential strengths, especially in the field of trade, agriculture, tourism, and people-to-people exchange. Dr. Henderson lauded the Southeast Asian nation's growing position in the region and the world, notably its successful past 10 years as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council and a member of the UN Human Rights Council. Dr. Henderson said he believed that the nation would continue to succeed in its current post as a member of the UN Human Rights Council for the 2023-2025 term. Dr. Henderson recommended Vietnam to share its experience in national construction and development with Dominica, and the two countries to step up collaboration in farming, fishing, and response to climate change and sea level rise. Both ministers agreed to continue to expand cooperation both bilaterally and multilaterally, including the enhancement of cooperation between Vietnam and CARICOM, as well as between Dominica and the Southeast Asian nations. Earlier, as part of the trip to Vietnam, Dr. Henderson met with leaders of VinFast, a subsidiary automaker of Vietnamese private conglomerate Vingroup, and toured several tourism and cultural destinations in the capital city of Hanoi. Julian Morris for the Government Information Service.
Thanks, Julian, for that report. Speaker of the House of Assembly, Honorable Joseph Isaac, says it should not be long before members of Parliament are allowed the option to deliver their contributions in Creole. More in this report.
Currently, the rules of the House only allow for members' contributions to be made in English, the official language. Currently, any language used in Parliament other than English must be translated.
Would you be wanting to do that, Speaker?
Yes, I'm the chairman of the Standing Orders Committee, and I'm suggesting to you that I think at our first meeting it will be brought up.
Yes.
In a formal way.
And then you think within this session that we may
yes,
see that
definitely.
Creole be able to be spoken in the...
Because there is the support already. The Prime Minister have said it, members of the government side have said it, members on the opposition side for many years. Even when I was in the House as a proponent for it, you know, so when I was the parliamentary representative, that is, because now I'm still in the House, you know.
Yeah.
So I see no problem with it. I think it is a progressive step, and also is a step to reflect our culture.
The Speaker believes it's really a question of Kalinago and the African people appreciating and taking greater pride in their culture. At the last sitting of Parliament, member for the Grand Bay constituency, Honorable Dr. Vince Henderson, was asked to translate statements he made in Creole. In response, the member chose to withdraw instead, as in his view, he should be able to speak Creole freely in the House of Assembly. The Speaker says he does not expect any opposition to the idea of speaking Creole in the House of Assembly.
The situation is that in the House, you can only speak formally English,
Okay.
according to the rules. And according to the rules, if you speak a different language, you have to interpret. I think this is retrogressive. And I think there's the support of the leader of the House with the Prime Minister and the opposition leader. So I think that's on our future agenda, very near future. I think we should be pushing it. I don't think we'll get any opposition, you know, or resistance to actually pushing it and ensuring that members of the House can speak Creole language freely.
He says the matter will be placed on the agenda of the Standing Orders Committee and brought to Parliament at the soonest. He says the rules must be adhered to, and as a result, the House will have to go back to the Standing Orders.
Within the Standing Orders, we'll make an amendment to the rule that refer to the language.
The whole House or the Standing Orders Committee?
The Standing Orders Committee first. So the Standing Orders Committee,
Yes.
it could happen both ways.
Uh-huh.
Either one side of the House, which for example the government side, could bring an amendment to the House for approval.
Yes.
Or the Standing Orders Committee can meet and make recommendations to the House and present a report to the House with suggested amendment, and the House can adopt the report and or the amendment suggested by the Standing Orders.
Okay.
So we could do it either way.
The Speaker believes achieving this will demonstrate unity in appreciation of our culture. Julian Morris for the Government Information Service.
Government continues to prioritize investment in the development of geothermal energy. Daryl Titt reports.
The government of Dominica has prioritized investment in developing geothermal energy in an effort to supply homes and businesses with clean and continuous energy. This is aimed at reducing our energy import bill and to allow us to be energy independent and power our future economic growth. Geothermal energy is a type of renewable energy taken from the Earth's core. It comes from heat generated during the original formation of the planet and the radioactive decay of materials. This thermal energy is stored in rocks and fluids in the center of the Earth. The geothermal reservoir, which exists in the Roseau Valley, is believed to have a power generation capacity which far exceeds the needs of the local market for the foreseeable future. Due to its underground location, it is basically weatherproof, fully renewable, and contains near zero emissions. Investments in geothermal infrastructure last for decades, requiring only routine maintenance. Geothermal energy is safe, as drilling takes place in a reservoir and not a volcano. There are three components of a complete geothermal project, and they are the production and reinjection wells, the power plant, and connection to the electricity grid. Thus far, 2 production wells have been drilled in Lodar, and drilling of a reinjection well is currently ongoing. The results obtained in the production wells are quite encouraging. With the development of geothermal energy to power Dominica's electricity grid, there will no longer be the need for diesel for generation under current operating conditions. This will result in the elimination of the fuel surcharge on our electricity bills, while allowing government to negotiate the lowest possible tariffs, further reducing electricity rates. And while adverse and severe weather events has caused some delays, geothermal development in Dominica is currently at a key stage with only positive results expected.
Thanks, Daryl, for that report. As Dominica continues to market its greenery and promote environmental health, International Day of Forest is used as a stepping stone to raise awareness on its preservation. Dominica has joined the world in commemoration of this day since the United Nations General Assembly proclaimed the 23rd of March as the Day of Forest in 2012.
Forests are the lungs of our planet. They purify the air we breathe, provide a home to countless species of plants and animals, and regulate the Earth's climate by absorbing and storing carbon dioxide. Forests are also a vital source of food, medicine, and other resources that sustain human societies and economies around the world. Yet, despite their importance, forests are facing numerous threats. Deforestation, climate change, and unsustainable practices such as illegal logging are all taking a toll on our forests and the benefits they provide. We must act now to protect our forests.
A multifaceted approach is needed for the preservation of the forest. According to the UN website, forest sustainable management and their use of resources are key to combating climate change and to contribute to the prosperity and well-being of current and future generations.
That includes conservation, sustainable management, and restoration. As individuals, we can all do our part to protect forests, whether it's by reducing our paper consumption, supporting sustainable forest products, or participating in reforestation efforts. Every action we take can make a difference. As a government, we are committed to protecting our forests and to support sustainable forest practices. The Forestry, Wildlife and Parks Division enforces our forest laws and regulations, promote sustainable forest management, and provide incentives for individuals who take steps to protect our forests.
Government is working with the United Nations Environment Program, which is the Partnership Initiative for Sustainable Land Management. This program enables farmers to manage existing land more sustainably, enhancing productivity without degrading land resources.
This project, which has given full support for this week of activities and overall project implementation, is very important to us. Today, on International Day of Forests, let us all commit to doing our part to protect and preserve these vital ecosystems. Let us recognize the important role that forests play in our lives and take action to ensure their continued health and well-being for generations.
This year, International Day of Forest is being observed under the theme Forest and Health. The United Nations recognizes the connection between forest and health and makes a call for giving in lieu of taking, as healthy forests will bring about healthy people. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Blue and Green Economy, in collaboration with WUSC Caribbean, Dexia and local supermarkets, hosted a post-harvest management training for white potato farmers. Octavia Prosper reports.
The training, which took place today at the Goodwill Parish Hall, covered the post-handling of potatoes, distribution and marketing, and the benefits of quality management from producers to consumers. Countries Coordinator for the OECS WUSC Caribbean Inc. is Dr. Nadia Paquette Anselm.
WUSC Caribbean and the Sustainable Agriculture in the Caribbean project has recognized white potatoes as a possibility and a formidable possibility for, of course, economic empowerment of women and youth and white potato farmers in general. I'm elated to stand here today because I think our work, not only as Propel during my earlier days, but as SAC, and of course the participation of Dexia and the Ministry of Agriculture and you farmers is not in vain. I think over the years we've seen the growth of the sector We are seeing, of course, the transformation and inclusion of more young persons, more women, and the extension of white potato growth and production, not only in the southern part of the country, but almost entirely in the entire country. So it's really a day that we should be glad in. And I also want to recognize the fact that, of course, that at the end of the day, we can say that this subsector is contributing economically to our own prosperity and our livelihoods.
General Manager for Dominica Export and Import Agency Dexia, Ms. Paula Platsko, says this season, farmers will benefit from an increase in the value of white potatoes.
Farmers during this season will receive an improved price of $1.50 per pound for white potatoes. This exemplifies the government's policy objective of creating livelihood support opportunities through farming. Through Dexia, government is also subsidizing the storage of the white potato harvest in the amount of approximately $128,000. These efforts by the government to build the white potato sector is timely as we continue to see the global shocks of increasing prices and logistics bottlenecks for delivery of food items.
Director of Agriculture, Mr. Ricky Brumant, shared some positive recommendations with farmers.
Continue doing what we do. We need you in this country. You are the forefront of having a healthy nation. You are forefront of realizing incomes and foreign exchange earnings. And you are the forefront of ensuring, of course, our nation is very, very healthy.
A donation of crates from West Caribbean was also presented to the potato farmers to assist with operations on their farms. Octavia Prosper for the Government Information Service.
Thanks, Octavia, for that report. You're watching National Focus. More when we return.
I love the freedom when I'm out there. Simply put, the worries from shore, none of that out there. And it's my daily bread. I learned it from my dad. My dad is one of the senior guys here who catch the biggest fish around here. And he's top with the red snappers. It's a family thing. I'm the only one fishing right now in the family. Just keeping it going. I enjoy bringing them up, man. Sometimes you have a yellowfin tuna, 400 pounds. Man, let me tell you, that's just a joy out there. I enjoy going out there and just holding the big fish. I don't lift weights, I lift fish. The morning of my fishing trip, I would get up, make a little spice tea. Then I come down here. I have my GPS, which most fishermen are supposed to have that. Normally I prepare the day before, because whenever you're going out there, you must have ice. Ice is a must for preservation of the fish. So I always make sure I have everything the day before. My fish represents me, and I bring good quality fish ashore simply because the restaurants themselves, they have to show a quality product. Tourism and agriculture go hand in hand. That's what I think. We're all connected. It's like a big machine, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it. My name is Brandon Carlisle, and tourism is my business.
Welcome back. The Sports Division has officially announced the national under-16 netball team that will represent Dominica in the upcoming Jean Pierre Caribbean Youth Netball Tournament. The announcement was made at a presentation ceremony at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium on March 20, 2023. Adesip Britton has more.
The Sports Division has officially announced the national under-16 netball team that will represent Dominica in the upcoming Jean-Pierre Caribbean Youth Netball Tournament. The announcement was made at a presentation ceremony at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium on March 20, 2023. 12 netball players from secondary schools across the island were selected after 4 months of preparation. Minister for Culture, Youth, Sports and Community Development, with a specific responsibility for youth and sports, Honorable Oscar George, highly anticipates the future of netball in Dominica.
Last year, we supported the ECCB OECS netball series. And in that series, we supported with over $350,000 to ensure that we have direct support to the association and also to build the amenities required for netball. And now we are here again hosting another netball competition right here at Windsor Park Stadium. Dominica is now becoming the netball capital of the Caribbean, and I personally believe that. From what I saw last competition and what I expect to see in this coming competition, I know that everyone will regard us as the place for netball in the Caribbean. And one of the things I mentioned is that when you're doing well, everyone tries to bring you down. So when you're doing well, you have to continue doing well. You have to keep the momentum going. And this is one of the mandates we at the ministry have given the sports division and also the Netball Association going forward.
Minister George advised the netballers on the importance of perseverance in their sporting discipline and encouraged parents to allow their children to participate in a sport.
I want to say to you, netballers here today, that hard work pays off. You must be dedicated, committed, and enthusiastic when it comes to the sport of netball. This is the only way you will get the results that you're looking for. I want to encourage all parents across Dominica to allow their students to participate in sporting activities. The benefits of being actively involved in sports far outweighs any potential negative impacts, if there is any.
A total of 6 countries will participate in the Jean-Pierre Caribbean Youth Under-16 Championship, scheduled from March 24 to 29 at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium forecourt. Dominica's national Under-16 netball team will encounter teams from 5 Caribbean territories, namely Cayman Islands, Barbados, St. Lucia, Grenada, and Trinidad and Tobago. Adesip Burton for the Government Information Service.
Thanks, Adesip, for that report. The Ministry of Culture, Youth, Sports and Community Development, through the Sports Division, has equipped 12 secondary schools with athletic kits valued above 40,000 EC dollars. The presentation ceremony of the sporting equipment took place at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium on March 20, 2023. More in this report.
The Ministry of Culture, Youth, Sports and Community Development, through the Sports Division, has equipped 12 secondary schools with athletic kits valued above 40,000 Eastern Caribbean dollars. The presentation ceremony of the sporting equipment took place at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium on March 20, 2023. Minister for Culture, Youth, Sports and Community Development, Honorable Greta Roberts, says the distribution of the athletic kits will boost performances of athletes.
Through the Sports Division, we have gone the extra mile to procure 380 uniforms on behalf of our track athletes at a cost of way more than $40,000. This will ensure that 12 secondary schools across the island will benefit through the provision of the kits that will enhance their comfort levels and, of course, lead to enhanced performance.
The recommendation was made by the Sports Division to easily identify athletes during athletic meets and to provide appropriate tracksuits for the events. Sports Coordinator of the Sports Division, Trevor Shillingford, says this donation will elevate the standards of athletics in Dominica.
We all know the impact of attire. When you are properly attired, it inspires confidence in you, right? You feel motivated. And we believe with the new attire, that in itself can inspire our students to be more confident on the field, more motivated to participate in track and field, and these areas will result in the raising of standards and hence improved performances.
Mr. Trevor Shillingford said he looks forward to see the impact of the new equipment on the upcoming performances of the athletes. He urged the schools to preserve the uniforms for future use.
Now, as we prepare for our secondary school championships, which will take place on Wednesday and Thursday this week, we expect to see our students properly attired. We also want to encourage the schools to take care of the kids. The kids should not be placed in the hands of the students. After the meet, they should be returned to the schools so that they can be kept for future events. So let's ensure that when we return in October for the Independence Schools Athletics Meet, that the students again will be properly attired.
Mr. Shillingford hopes to not only see greater participation of schools, but more support from their fellow alumni at the future sporting events. The government, through the Sports Division, facilitates 2 annual athletic meets and acknowledges the positive impact of these meets on the athletes.
A number of our students have emerged from these competitions to represent Dominica at various regional and international levels, such as the Carifta Games. Government is committed to provide the support to our qualifying athletes for this upcoming event by facilitating their attendance at the Games. And as we speak, we are putting measures in place to send a delegation to the Bahamas in the next 3 weeks. So far, 6 of our student athletes have qualified for the 50th edition of the Carifta Games. We wish them well, and as they go out there to make themselves, their families, and of course, to make Dominica proud.
Meanwhile, Minister Roberts announced the construction of a new sporting facility to advance athletics in Dominica.
We are in discussions as we plan to construct a synthetic track and field facility for athletes. You may have been hearing of this. We believe that our track athletes need a home, so this facility will serve as the headquarters of athletics in Dominica. It will be a top-class facility right here in Dominica. It is our intention to have this facility at Portsmouth, and you may have seen the spot already, so we are putting plans in place, hoping that by November, our track and field will take place at our new synthetic track.
Minister Roberts encourages increased participation of secondary school students in the athletics meets.
I encourage all schools to allow their students the opportunity to participate at the secondary schools athletics championships. As you heard Mr. Shillingford say, you just never know how far an athlete can go. But it all starts at the grassroots level, which is at our schools and in our communities.
Adisa Burton for the Government Information Service.
And that's all for this edition of National Focus. Be sure to follow GIS Dominica on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitter. You can also drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dn. From all of us here on the GIS News Production team, I am Aaliyah Martin. Thanks for watching and stay safe.